Welcome to GrayPrimer.com. My name is Nick, I'm your host, and in today's episode, which is day 2 of our Warhammer Citadel Games Workshop special weekend, we're going to look at Aeronautica Imperialis. Here it is, Aeronautica Imperialis, a Wings of Vengeance, the game of aerial combat in the 41st millennium. Very different from day 1 in this Warhammer series of videos, which was all about the gridiron and blood and guts on the astrogranite in the fantasy side of Warhammer. This is above the skies of these stretching ancient battlefields in the 41st millennium. It is a game that I'm surprised didn't exist up to now. Maybe some of the Warhammer sort of historians out there would be able to tell me if I'm wrong there, but I don't think there's been a game dedicated just to the smaller scale aircraft like these. And you kind of think, why not? I really can't wait to get into the miniatures in this, because I was raised on the likes of Airfix aircraft kits like Spitfires, Messerschmitts, and even like, you know, not just combat stuff. There was like Concorde and 747s, and I used to make a terrible job of them. Plastic cement everywhere. And woe betide you if you had one of those clear plastic canopies. That aircraft was never going to get off the ground safely. You can't see anything through that fog. And this kind of feels like it's getting back a little bit to that. Back to those old Airfix kits, and I'm really looking forward to going through the instruction book and seeing if it feels like Airfix or if it still feels like Games Workshop. So here it is, Aeronautica Imperialis, Wings of Vengeance, the game of aerial combat in the 41st millennium. This is part of Warhammer 40,000, or Warhammer 40k, which is an incredibly famous and popular tabletop wargame from Games Workshop Citadel Warhammer. And that has been going since, mid-80s? Is that right? I think so. I could check that, but I'm not going to. And now we've got this game which deals with sort of dogfighting in that world. You know, in the skies above the grand battlefields of Warhammer 40k, you have these incredible scenes of aerial combat going on. Let's have a look at it anyway. Let's get into the box here. I mean, the art it's incredibly detailed. I'm still not sold on the designs of the aircraft. I'm guessing that's an Ork one up there. But repeats, the box art, some images of the models there on the side. That's a repeat and a repeat again. Looks like that same design on 3 sides. Now you get into the back of it here, just to let you see that. And we have a bit of an introduction here. Dark age of humanity, where the Imperium of mankind fights a constant battle for survival in a hostile galaxy. And then the contents. We've got these Imperial bombers, Imperial fighters, Daka jets, Ork Air War Daka jets, and then Ork Air War fighter bombers. Rulebook, reference cards, area of engagement. A complete set of tokens representing maneuver, stall, spin, tailing, and structure points. Set of 8 6-sided dice, and a set of transfers for the Navy and the Ork Air War aircraft. Here they are, the various aircraft. Does it say shown actual size? It does, yeah. Model shown at actual size. And kind of a cool little logo I hadn't seen before there. Is the Warhammer 40,000 universe. That's kind of cool. So, let's have a look inside. Nice. World of bubble wrap. Ooh, interesting smell. Don't know what that smell is. Monopoly? Kind of smells like Monopoly. Oh man, world's most boring dice. But easy to read. And I'm sure there'll be custom dice available separately at some point. But dull. We have some bases here. We've got these hexagonal, these 6-sided bases. They look like they are individually bagged inside, which seems kind of strange to me. Let's get in here. Yep. Oh, in an age of awareness of single-use plastics, that just seems a very strange decision. All of these bases are individually bagged. Okay. Let's have a look at one of them, because they are kind of interesting looking. And we've got like direction of flight there, and then we have different rotating wheels for whatever the different effects are. This kind of looks like it indicates speed. I'm not sure what that is. Altitude? I guess it could be altitude. That could make sense. Very nice. I mean, it's incredibly solid plastic. I just don't think it needs to be wrapped individually, unless they did some kind of tests on it that when not wrapped, or maybe they suffered damage or something when clacking against each other, but they're going to be clacking against each other for the rest of their natural life while they're rolling around in this game box. So I don't know. Anyway, we also have clear flight stands, so there's a bunch of those in there, and that just obviously is where the aircraft connect into those wee hex stands. And then we're into the actual aircraft sprues here. I'm just going to set those aside for 1 sec. Very nice piece of art there from the cover, and then a breakdown of the 9 different aircraft that are in it. We got our 3 Dakka jets, our 2 fighter bombers, our 2 Thunderbolt fighters, and then 2 Marauder bombers. So that's kind of interesting looking. I'm liking the paint jobs on these. Oh, look at the Ork paint job. Orks are just magnificent creatures, aren't they? Absolutely cool. Okay, and underneath that we have the rulebook. Imperial Aeronautica Imperialis logo there, represented as a type of metal, which is nice. And in that we've got instructions, and I can see the quick reference sheet there as well. So I'm just going to get this open. Okay, so let's see what the loose parts are in here first. We've got the movement diagrams regarding the types of flight, which is interesting. Quick reference sheet. So this is on fairly good stock of card. We have our separate instructions for each of the types of jets, each of the types of aircraft that are in it. So we got the 4 different types there, the 2 fighters and the 2 bombers. And then black and white instructions. Do they give me a vibe of Airfix? A little bit. Maybe more like a Lego instruction book than an Airfix one, but it has been a long time since I saw an Airfix instruction book. Oh, look at the fitting all the bombs on. Lovely. Look pretty clear, so that's going to be good. And then we're into the book. This is a sort of a matte finish. I don't know if that picks up on camera. Nice stock as well. like a magazine, but with sort of a slightly more rigid card cover. So should be fairly, should last fairly well. And then inside we just have a breakdown of all of the rules. And it looks to be pretty straightforward. I wonder if they have scenarios. They do. They have scenarios at the end here as well. And some nice art in there too. And that's really lovely bit of lovely drawing there. And then through the rest of it, and then a couple of quick reference pages at the end. And yeah, pretty good. Is that another quick reference sheet? Okay, so one for each player. Oh, I like that. Props to Games Workshop. That's a great idea. And then we have our counter sheet. These are, even just holding this, these are popping out in the plastic. So that's kind of cool. And then we have our playing surface here. So far I've been impressed with the materials they've used here. Neoprene would be lovely for this, you know, if that was something that was available as an upgrade. As it is, we have sort of a decent enough stock, somewhere between paper and card. This is a sort of a subdued one. I guess this looks like an airfield or something. Kind of wasteland. Not really sure what that is. And then much more interesting on this side, we have the cityscape. And the cityscape has some super detail. That's really neat. That'd be really cool, you know, that sort of impression of flying over this. There's a couple of burning buildings there. The sort of smoke drifting from the top of this building across the city. Similar over here as well. I like that. That's pretty good. And you can see the sort of hex design on it there as well. And let's see how snugly these fit. Yep. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Just sits nicely within the hexes on here. And they're actually really easy to see on the play surface. And then finally, at the bottom of the box, we have a decal sheet. I got Marauder and Bomber. The detail on these decals is something else. Sorry about the block out there. Oh, cool. That'll save you some heartache painting. That they've already done that design with the flames and the checkerboard there. Some great orc iconography there. Oh, I like that they've sort of sectioned this off into four for the 4 different types of aircraft too. That's great. So you can really try and replicate the aircraft as they're shown in the manual. So let's have a look here. So we've got bits and pieces, little winglets and things, some munitions. There's not a huge amount you can tell from that what these different parts are. It'd be, you know, something that would be revealed as you build. Different parts of fuselage, little bomblets and things, wings. I mean, it looks like there's a lot of building in them. There's not huge pieces of the aircraft here. I guess the largest bits we can see would be these sort of main wings that are single piece. Areas where I guess all of the bombs and things would go into there underneath. On this sprue, looks like there's sort of larger wings, larger fuselage. So lots of building, which I guess is something that would be consistent with the likes of model airplane kits. You know, they always seem to have lots of tiny pieces which went together. And then you had those horrible clear plastic canopies that you always ended up... I always ended up fogging with plastic cement. I don't think I ever made one of those that was a truly clear canopy. They always were foggy and frosted. The poor pilots who had the aircraft I built were doomed. But thankfully, you don't get any of that with these. There's no little clear plastic piece to click in, you know, to the covering the cockpit. And we'll see, you know, certainly going to make a change from sticking together Ork infantry or Blood Bowl elves. This could be a new start where I get addicted to building Warhammer 40,000 aircraft. And I'll be back soon with 9 fully built Aeronautica Imperialis aircraft. So we'll see you soon. Bye. Welcome back. Aeronautica Imperialis in front of us here. When I started to cut these off the sprue, I was like, oh, they're so intricate. There's too many pieces. Like, there's too many components. It kind of felt like it was trying to be a model airplane kit, like an airfix kit. And I was getting a little bit to that point of just, oh, this is just frustrating and it's just slow, because you are making sort of multiples as well, like 3 of the DACA jets, you know, and then 2 of each of these others. And then as the aircraft actually started to take shape and take on the look of, you know, warplanes, building them, I used like the little magnifier you've seen me with before in my hobby travel kit, actually. You get a really nice close-up view of all of the detail. You start to really appreciate the effort that went into the design of these aircraft. And yeah, I just kind of started warming to them again when I eventually got into the armaments. That's when it really was so cool. The amount of variety that is in these kits for how you want to do the bombs or the guns, the missiles underneath. Even little touches like details around the cockpit, the angle of the rear-facing guns, if they come with them, the types of landing gear that are underneath. It just, it feels like, okay, it's like an airfix kit in many ways, but it also is very clearly, this is still Warhammer. Is it enough between each of the elements to sort of say, oh, this is clearly an Ork aircraft or clearly an Imperial aircraft or whatever it might be? I don't know. I think a lot of it will come down to, you know, how you paint it. I guess for something to stay in the air, it has to look more like an aircraft than probably Ork engineers would like it to. It still has to take off and stay up. You know, those are kind of the basics of flight. But let's have a bit of a closer look. So I'll start with maybe the Thunderbolt fighter. So this is from the Imperial side of things. So you get 2 of these here. And hopefully you can see the really lovely details from the beginning. Touches of sort of American World War II. You can sort of see the shape there of a Mustang maybe. But just sort of tucked in there somewhere. But there's enough of the sort of Warhammer side of things, or maybe there's not. Is there enough? Have they gone far enough with these designs, or could they have taken it another step? I don't mind the look of this. I think it's probably, of them all, it's the closest one to sort of a World War II fighter. But you can see the armaments here. And you've, like I said, you have a lot of choice there in how you put that out. But I'll show you the other one of those Thunderbolt fighters, which is this one here. Sort of got the Vulcan or the Gatling guns, twin Gatling guns on either side there. Turbine intakes. And completely different weapons that I chose for this one. They don't feel at all fragile. Imagine the weapons would snap off pretty easy if you were careless, but I don't feel that they were fragile or anything when I was building them. They were just a little bit complex, bit convoluted. And let's look at their opposite number, the Ork Fighter Bomber. Oh, sorry, no, the Ork Jet, which is this. We've got 3 of these, and very different design across the 3, which is suitably Orkish. I suppose when you see them like this, it is very Ork looking, isn't it? And lots of DACA. Yeah, I'd say there's a little bit more space here for another one, but maybe it just wouldn't take off. They all have this sort of hole underneath, and that's part of the flight system. You saw the hexagonal bases, and then it has these little clear plastic supports which just pop in there and allow you to use all of your flight systems for banking and everything. That's how you represent that in the game. But really good design. You can see all the the different panels and everything. And we'll just hop over to the next one. And there's definitely enough variety in these to make them feel unique. And you can see all these sort of exhaust systems and stuff all down the side. The machine guns further back. All that DACA. And yeah, pretty neat. I'm not sure how maneuverable that would be. It looks like a bit of a brick. But this one looks much more maneuverable. I love the mouth at the front. I think that's really neat. The eyes are machine guns as well. Got more of these venting systems, the exhausts. I think it's more machine guns further back, or it could be part of the engine system. And then nice array of munitions there. Cool split tail as well. Nice, kind of pretty from any angle, that one. And we'll go back over to the Imperials now, over to the Marauder Bomber, which is the largest of the aircraft here. So, with DACA to put the Orks to shame. Nice front gun there. And I think they have a rear-facing one as well, just here. So this thing is... And another one here, actually, a tail gun. So this is loaded. Absolutely loaded. And then underneath, of course, we've got all the bombs. So I haven't read the rules of this, but I'm assuming there are bombs or bomblets in here as well. Because if you think about it, this is like 8 bombs, and with the 4 engines here, clearly this is built for long range, but that's an awful long way to travel to deliver just 8 bombs. So you'd want this to have something pretty nasty tucked away in this behind these doors. But throughout, great detail. You've got, sort of rivet detail and everything. Really cool way to sort of see or to try out different paint techniques. You can have like little corrosion you know, marks, sort of oil trails coming off different parts of it, especially when you go over to the Orks. Oh, sorry, I missed a Marauder bomber. I don't know that it differs massively. I did try to put different loadouts into them to give variety between the two different aircraft in the unit. Or the fighter wing, or whatever this would be called. But you can see that lovely detail throughout. Not a huge amount of variety between those two. The only thing that kind of bugged me was the backwards wing. The whole thing kind of felt a bit backwards to me. You see what I mean? Like this sort of sweep back here. Again, on the tail, the sweep back the other way. It gives a sort of a different look. But I'm not sure. I guess it's the same here. The same sort of design. Everything sort of pointed toward the back. There's probably someone out there who knows aeronautics and could tell us the reason behind that. But let's have a look at, this is the Ork fighter bomber. I think these are my favorite. I love the sort of the sweep of the wings there. There's just something really nice about that. A lot of munitions hanging underneath the wings of this one, machine guns in the wings, and like I said before, there's so much variety in the types of bombs and weapons you put underneath this. Rear facing gun here, looks like that could be a tail gun too. Yeah, I see the machine gun there. I see the muzzle vents on it. Don't know if there's one in the front. Actually, it does look like there's one in the front. It looks like a small missile launcher. Interesting. And there's just something about this aircraft that's really nice. You are left with a bunch of tiny little bombs and stuff that you may or may not find a use for at some point in the future, but you'll have a fistful of them because of all the options. And then this is the other Ork fighter bomber. Totally different look to the front of it. I put some large bombs onto this one. A lot of the bombs have a bit of character to them. It's hard to see here, but you can sort of see some of them have faces and things. And they'd probably be a lot of fun to paint. You could go really gaudy with those. If you've ever read Tank Girl, you could probably go for some of that, sort of those color schemes. Get some fluorescence and things going in there. That'd be so cool. And yeah, and like with the other one with the rivets and stuff, you could play around with sort of weathering techniques. Different types of paints that would give some really cool, you know, effects of rust and dribbles of oil coming out of stuff. Even around the engines you could have where you can see sort of the tarnished metal or whatever. But yeah, of the 4 different types of aircraft, I think the Ork fighter bomber would be my favorite by far, actually, of these 4 aircraft. The Thunderbolt fighter would give it a close second, then the Dakka jet, which is this one here. Overall, Aeronautica Imperialis, it was an enjoyable build. The components look really great as well. The way they've designed the hex bases, the little sort of trackers on them, the clear plastic support struts, and you can angle your aircraft as to, you know, the type of maneuver you're trying to pull off. I think that it's a really interesting take on Warhammer 40k. It may even act as a gateway game for some people if it's promoted, I guess, strongly enough. If we get support for it, if there are... Oh, wow. Could you imagine like an Ork aircraft carrier? That would be incredible. So things like that which could really spark people's imagination, draw them into it, you know, that sort of additional element of what this could turn into. I just hope that it's not sort of, here it is, the boxed game, we'll put out a few components, a few additional aircraft, and then we'll just let it disappear. I guess that back in the day, that's what happened with the likes of Dark Future. I could probably have picked a much more recent game than Dark Future, but that was the one that always stuck with me through the years, was like, oh, that could have been so cool. And then it just kind of was like, poof, gone. So I kind of hope Aeronautica Imperialis isn't that. Isn't Dark Future in the Sky. Wow, there's a pitch for a game. I hope that it has success. I hope that people do pick it up because it's a really interesting build. It's got a little bit of nostalgia, and then you head into this like, oh, so much guns, so much, you know, so many bombs, so many options. The elements of 40k coming into it, those little orc touches, and also subtle little nods to like World War II aircraft. And I think that there's enough there to be an interesting process of putting it all together. And I imagine painting this is going to be fantastic as you sort of pick your color scheme, you know, whichever sort of chapter or whatever you belong to, your troops belong to. I think that could be fantastic. So I hope it does continue. I hope that they, you know, try different things with it as well. More aircraft, Eldar, squats. What else could you fit into this? That's just Space Marine, Air Force. Wow. But also things like aircraft carriers and stuff like that. That would just be such a cool thing to own and see. I liked it. I had fun. I might even get a chance to play with it, try out the actual game rather than just talking about all the components. But we'll see. For now, though, that is it for Aeronautica Imperialis. So that wraps up day 2 of our Citadel Warhammer Games Workshop special weekend, our special 4-day weekend. Aeronautica Imperialis is in the bag. Yesterday we had Blood Bowl. Tomorrow we will be back with Kill Team. So staying with Warhammer 40k. And we'll be unboxing the Orc Kill Team, the Death Guard Kill Team, and Sector Sanctoris Scenery Pack expansion thing. But until then, please like, subscribe, share, comment below, and take care, and I will see you soon. Alright now, bye-bye.